From 13 News Now, this is a breaking news alert.
Breaking right now, the ruling is in on tunnel tolls.
13 News Now anchor Sandra Parker is live in the newsroom. Okay, Sandra, Hampton Roads has been waiting months for this. What is the verdict?
Here is what we understand. It's come down from the Virginia Supreme Court that the tolls will be in place.
All right, so those tolls will begin February 1st, and the people fighting this every step of the way, a lot of them in Portsmouth right now, with 13 News Now reporter Philip Townsend.
Let's head out there and get a live report on their reaction, Philip.
Yes, and a surprising overturned ruling by that Supreme Court.
All right, thank you, Philip. Joining us here now at 13 News Now, attorney Kevin Duffin.
And Kevin, you've been sharing with us some key information. I'd like you to share that with our viewers. Your reaction to this, and what does this mean? Portsmouth Mayor Kenny Wright calls this disturbing, and he's disappointed.
The citizens of Hampton Roads fought a really good fight, but...
Now, what impact does this have on these public-private partnerships, which has been at issue, the center of all this, because this is a group effort by VDOT and Elizabeth River Crossings to do this $2.1 billion project? Sure,
the effect on them is more or less status quo. A lot of the tolls in this area and all over the Commonwealth are public-private partnerships, or P3s as they're called, and most of them are going to be able to still do business as usual and even do more business like this in the future.
All right, thank you, Attorney Kevin Duffin, for weighing in and sort of breaking this down for us. Again, we are waiting for the full ruling, and of course we'll have time to go through that and bring you more details, pull out more information on our 90 minutes of news beginning at 5, and of course 13 News Now at noon. Heavy emotions in Portsmouth right now. Let's go back out to Brudy's, where 13 News Now reporter Philip Townsend just spoke with Mayor Kenny Wright. There are others out there as well. Phil.
Yes, devastating blow, you know, that decision by the Supreme Court.
And we just got some new information about the ruling itself, when it will be released. Yeah, we've just learned that the full decision is set to be released at 9:30 this morning, but you guys are already weighing in on our Facebook page. So let's head back to 13 News Now anchor Sandra Parker in the newsroom. She has some of that feedback. Sandra?
Yeah, and on our Facebook page, people not happy about this. Obviously, no one wants to pay tolls.
Means to you, February 1st, that's when tolls are set to go up at the Midtown and downtown tunnels, $1.59 to $1.84 for passenger vehicles. Let's bring back our studio guest here, Kevin Duffin, an attorney in Virginia Beach, because one of our viewers mentioned in the Facebook comment that he's now worried about tolls perhaps at the HRBT or other bridge tunnels. Can you address that?
Well, sure. Just like we were worried about a ripple effect throughout tolls from the defense side, from the plaintiff side on this case, the ripple effect could be more tolls do go up. It's unlikely that any will go up in the near future.
Well, we're going to head back out to Portsmouth right now, because Philip Townsend, as we mentioned, is at Brudy's with the group of folks who were opposing these tolls, and he has more people that we're going to hear from right now. Philip?
Yes, I'm here with Charles Greenhood. Charles, this is your restaurant.
And we apologize for losing Philip's audio, but right now we are watching the clock. It is 9:30. 9:30 is the time when the Virginia State Supreme Court said they would issue the ruling for all of us to see, so we can get some perspective and try to decipher the ruling today that these tunnel tolls are constitutional. Yeah, at issue was whether they were taxes or user fees. A circuit court, a Portsmouth Circuit Court judge had ruled in March, or rather in May, that in favor of the Citizens Against Unfair Tolls, who were against these tolls. Well, that Portsmouth judge's ruling went to the Supreme Court. It was heard. The state was heard in September, and then today that ruling by that circuit court judge was overturned. And it's been a long, hard fight. Folks here put up a good fight, and their hearts were in this. They're feeling pain today. The pain may hit them in their wallets and their pocketbooks, because we've done some calculating as to what these tolls could mean to you. And let's say the tolls, they're supposed to be between $1.59 and $1.84. Let's say if taking the maximum range there, $1.84, you would be paying $956 a year if you take those tolls both ways 5 days a week, trying to get to and from work. Yeah, that's how the money's breaking down if we do the math that way. And you're looking at the numbers there on your screen. We're told Sandra Parker is standing by in the 13 News Now newsroom with more information on this decision by the Supreme Court. Sandra? Yeah, guys, I mean, we're talking about the tolls themselves. You guys are talking about how much it's going to cost. And remember, this is an all-electronic
toll process.
Another issue is what's next.
Right.
Because these folks that Philip is talking to at Brody's this morning are saying the fight's not over for them.
Well,
They're going to
out.
look into the Virginia Supreme Court ruling and to the folks who make up that court and question, are there ulterior motives in this decision?
Let's find out what's next. And Philip Townsend is back with Portsmouth Mayor Kenny Wright.
We are. Mayor Wright, I understand, I guess maybe the next step is having a town hall meeting.
We're just looking at the opinion that has just come down on the website for the Virginia State Supreme Court. It's a 55-page opinion. We're just getting a peek at it now with Kevin Duffin, the attorney who's been consulting with us here on this decision.
In fact, he's online right now. As you can imagine, with all those pages, it's a lot to,
look through
here.
Yeah.
What are you seeing so far? I know we just got this, and you're trying to get to the meat of this.
Sure. So far, it's saying that the tolls essentially do not abridge the police power of the Commonwealth, which basically means that there is no taxing authority that's been given to VDOT or to the private entities, which is what the plaintiffs in this case have been saying all along.
While you're looking at that, let's run through the timeline of this whole situation as it began to unfold. It was back in 2012 that the businesses and residents decided to sue, claiming that VDOT and Elizabeth City Crossings do not have an authority to impose taxes. In March of this year, Portsmouth City Council voted to, in fact, help fund the lawsuit against the tunnel tolls, and they provided $50,000 in legal funding.
On May 1st, much different emotions than today, when Portsmouth Circuit Court judge ruled in favor of the citizens against unfair tolls, and they were really hoping for another victory today.
And in May, on May 21st, in fact, a Portsmouth judge ruled that the state cannot toll the tunnels from Portsmouth to Norfolk while it's appealing his earlier ruling, that earlier ruling in favor of citizens against unfair tolls.
The state then appealed that, and that was on September 11th when the Virginia Supreme Court heard the state's appeal on that ruling, declaring the tolls unconstitutional at that time.
Today, the ruling overturned, and we are going to head back out to Philip Townsend in Portsmouth with reaction from those part of Citizens Against Unfair Tolls. Philip?
Yeah, we're reading it right now, Mayor Kenny Wright and I. Mayor, what are you gathering so far? You're seeing just a little bit of this. Obviously, it's more than 40 pages, but...
Right, and we're back now with our guest here, Kevin Duffin, an attorney in Virginia Beach. The mayor talked about PPTA, 95?
Right.
What was that? Can you give us some perspective?
The PPTA is a Virginia code section, or actually whole chapter of the Virginia Code that allows for these public-private partnerships.
And the PPTA is the Public-Private Transportation Act from 1995, and we just heard Mayor Wright say that's sort of the premise of their whole entire argument, is that that is what makes this whole thing unconstitutional.
That's absolutely right, and actually I just found on page 47 of the opinion, the justice states, we start with the understanding that the grant of authority to public entities in code section, is the PPTA, to enter into a comprehensive agreement is necessarily limited by the prohibition against any abridgment of the police power of the Commonwealth. So getting through all of that, what they're essentially saying is they understand that the PPTA has limits to it, but they don't believe that what's happened here has gone beyond those limits of the PPTA.
All right.
And so in simple terms, that means we will start paying tolls at the Midtown and downtown tunnels, and the time should be about February 1st of next year. The state Supreme Court ruling today that tunnel tolls are constitutional.
We'll have much more coverage for you coming up on 13 News Now at noon and in our 90 minutes of news beginning at 5.